All right, guys, Cody here with a couple more questions. An individual reached out to me on social media and asked about the PT test. And his question was related to what do I need to score? Do I need to get satisfactory level or get superior level to, on the PT test? And you just need to pass. Is when you get in State Department, you just need to pass. And I'll tell you, it's not like the military where your PT test is related to your promotions. Not one bit. When you go overseas, most of the times, you don't even take a PT test. I was overseas for 4 years and I didn't take a PT test. Now, when I was in the field office, we took it every quarter. We're pretty diligent on that. But it really doesn't matter. You just need to pass. Now, that said, there's a couple different exceptions. Number one, I don't know, because this is a new process, taking the PT test before you come on. So I don't know if that score impacts where you're ranked on the register. And so if someone watching this has already taken the test and knows that answer, I'd be grateful if you could let us know. I have some guys and girls in a Facebook group that any one of you are welcome to join. It's called Become a DSS Agent. And some of them are currently in BSAC. And so they might have some intel on that. The second thing is it could impact if you're one of those that want to be the honor graduate of FLETC or you want to be the honor graduate of BSAC. It does have an impact in that case, right? Your scores on PT tests, your regular handwritten test scores, all that matters to become, your honor graduate. And to some people, that's very important. So FLETC for sure, I know that matters. BSAC, I'm not 100% sure if they do that, and that's maybe something someone else who watches this can comment on. If I get that intel and anyone's interested, just put a message down on YouTube, and my next video, I'll touch base and let you know what I found out. The other thing is someone asked about, is DS training better than the other organizations, like other three-letter agencies, FBI, all the. I don't know. I've never been a part of those agencies. I imagine FBI's is pretty good, particularly because their main focus or their only focus is investigations. That said, I think ours is more robust in that not our investigations training, but the types of training we do. We'll do investigations, right? We'll do protection training. We'll do high threat protection training. We'll do weapons of mass destruction training. You get some CI briefings and kind of understand how that works. You get some security management training. So we have a robust. When you get into DS, you'll hear this term jack of all trades because you do a little bit of everything. And so in that regard, I think we get the best training because we have so many different types of training. We're trained in a lot of different things, but we're not the best at one thing, maybe, right? Because we do so many different things. I happen to think we're really good at protection, particularly high threat protection. And there's a number of reasons for that I think we're really good at because we have to adapt. We don't have the budget that Secret Service has, right? And we don't have, oftentimes we have the authority, but not the same, right? If you're with a president of a foreign nation or, a foreign minister of a foreign nation, it just makes a difference. So we have to adapt and we have to be diplomatic and use the resources that we have to get the job done. I think we're freaking good at that. Another question, I had someone ask if I could make some comments on investigations. This individual read my book and apparently liked the investigations stories and was interested to learn more about those. And I'm thankful that he read the book. And so some of the investigations, I won't go into all of mine. I talked about some of mine in the book already. But the thing about it is DS agents, you don't have a partner, right? So you kind of partner with anyone. Anyone says we have to do everything in twos. So if you go do surveillance or you go do an interview, they make you go with another person, right? So you become part of these other cases. And sometimes you become heavily involved in these other cases because you really enjoy working with that person or it's a really interesting case and they need your support. So some of the things I got to do, there was a visa case where we did some surveillance. It was a business owner that was supporting immigrants coming over, so H-1B visas, to come over and work. And what he was doing is once they got over, they were paying him a sum of money, and then he was just letting them go. So the business wasn't fictitious. He had a business, but he didn't need the amount of people, of immigrants to come over. But he ended up having, I think there was one of his current employees that said, basically you can make some money doing this. And so, they had a workaround where they'd communicate and say, hey, apply for this H-1B visa, put this guy's contact information down, this company, you're going to come work for him. You set all that up. Boom, they approve, they get over, they pay him several grand, and they're in. And so we investigated that guy. We did some surveillance, and I thought that was a pretty good case. I haven't worked many visa cases. I don't think there are many visa cases in the field offices. But that was a pretty decent one. There was also a counterfeit passport case, which back then it's really hard to make a counterfeit passport, but that was the intel that the DBFTF got. That's the Document Benefit Fraud Task Force that the guy Dirk from the book, he worked with them, and he ended up having a confidential informant. We wired him up, with a mic and a camera, and was meeting with these guys that allegedly had a counterfeit passport ring up in Mexico. And back then it was a little easier to manipulate the passport because you didn't have all the security features. You had some, but you didn't have the same ones you do now. And there were still, although they were issuing the new passport back then, I think the old ones, because they're 10 years long, they were still grandfathered in. So they were easier to manipulate. Now, would that be counterfeiting? I don't think you could do, right? But you can use a U.S. passport for many things. You probably won't get across, a CBP, or more than likely won't get across, right, with a counterfeit passport. But if you're already in the U.S. and you have a counterfeit passport and you fly out from some rinky-dink airport and you just use that because you don't have a Texas ID, so you use your passport and they look at it like that. So now you can fly to freaking across the country using a fake passport. I mean, it's feasible, right? Depending how good it was. But anyway, so we ended up, rolling up on that dude, like a Walmart parking lot, and jumping out and arresting him, blocking his car in. That was good. There was also a case a guy had where we needed to place a tracker on a car. So we went to a dealership and we worked with the dealership to borrow that car for the day. And we basically took some pictures of it at the bottom of it. We timed ourselves placing the tracker on it. Made sure it was in a spot where it would stay for long, with a good spot where it had a good magnet where it would stay for a long time. So we did things like that. I would say also one thing that's very important is when you get to your post, to your field office, to work on relationships with other agencies. So if you have buddies or friends or contacts that know someone, then get in with these other agencies. Most of these relationships are established, but sometimes they let them fizzle. And I would encourage anyone who wants to do investigations and you're at a field office to build those relationships. And so we did with ICE. We had ICE special agents we worked with, and we had ICE. It's called DRO back then, but now it's called ERO, which is Enforcement Removal Officers. And they had these administrative warrants where they had to go pick up these dudes, illegal immigrants that were convicted, that were charged with certain crimes, with like high level crimes. One guy like burned his wife, poured gas on his wife and lit her on fire or something. And he got away. And so because he was illegal, they prioritized him, right? And so they went out to get him, or we went out to find him and track him down. The thing that's the best about these ICE ERO cases is we didn't have to do any work. I literally just rolled up 4:30 in the morning, jumped in with my buddy from ICE, and he did all the casework. He had stacks of cases. He did all the routes, where we're going to go first, second, where we're going to sit on the house. And then we'd make these arrests. We just jump out and arrest these dudes. Now, an administrative warrant is different. You can't technically break the threshold of the house, so you'd have to kind of wait till they come outside to pick them up, because administrative deportation warrant. And a lot of these guys, we did it just because they had notices to appear. They didn't appear. There's a number of different reasons of why ICE does it, but that was fun because you're always in your tactical gear. You're running around. You're chasing guys and girls all day, and then you come back and you write like a paragraph of a report and you're done. So that was a good time as well. DBFTF, Document Benefit Fraud Task Force in Houston, was a good time. I had a buddy, Dirk, from the I talked about him earlier actually. He had a case, or he had one of his counterparts had a case that required us to hit a local market midday, like a swap meet. And we did. We rolled up in a bunch of cars and Suburbans and trucks, and helicopters were above, and we all jumped out, and we had our people we needed to go snatch up, and we tried our best to snatch them up. I ended up finding one of two of the ones that I and my team were supposed to get. We run around, and I mean, helicopter, like people were running everywhere, and we were snatching people up. It was a good time. So I mean, you do get to do that type of work. It just, but I would add that it matters where you're located. It matters what field office you're in. If you're in WIFO, Washington Field Office, I don't think you're going to be getting those types of cases. You're going to be doing some protection and kind of have some other cases. New York, I hear you get both. You get good protection and you get good cases. Now, do you get to do all the stuff that we did? I talked about my book and then how we kicked in the doors on Operation Rex Safari and how the Demetrius Rhodes case, how we're going to bust down the door there. And there's a number of factors of why you would do that and why you would be that aggressive. But one factor is leadership. And in Houston, we had a guy the SAC special agent in charge was a former SWAT team officer. So he liked being aggressive. My direct supervisor was a former infantry Marine officer, so he liked being aggressive. And at that time, the officers had a bit of autonomy, right? So the SAC ran his show and did his thing. I don't know how it is now, but we got to have some fun. So I would just say, like a lot of things in DS, it depends. It just depends on a lot of factors if you get to do that type of what I think was cool stuff, because I wasn't a cop before, so I thought those 2 years really in Houston in a law enforcement capacity were really cool. Anyway, I hope that answers your question. I hope that it expands on it, and anyone else that was interested, I hope that met your standards. I have an audiobook coming out. It is sent to Amazon right now. It should be coming out in the next month or so. I keep saying the next month because we're in a crazy time and things are getting delayed. But audiobook will be coming out, and I'll let everyone know when that does. You can follow me on Instagram, agentunknown_book, Facebook as well as Agents Unknown. I do have a Facebook group called Becoming a DSS Agent, and that's for you guys to go in and just build community, ask questions, learn from each other. It's kind of like a forum. And come in and ask some questions. And there's people in there that are currently in the special agent course, that are former special agents, that are aspiring special agents. So you get a good bit of intel. If you're interested becoming a DSS agent, fill out the questions that I added there. Just complete them. It doesn't matter if the answer is no. Just complete the questions, and we'll approve you to get in, and we'll chat. Otherwise, my hard copy or paperback book is still rocking and rolling on Amazon. You can just type in Agents Unknown book, and it'll pop up. But anyway, that's all I got. I hope to some point make 2 videos a week, but right now things are a little bit crazy, so we'll stick at least to 1 a week. If you got any questions, hit me up. I got a website up, CodyPerron.com. I write blogs as well. I call them blogs, just articles. It's basically some stories, or this last one was a story that didn't make the book. It's a great story. I just didn't have all the time to write it. I didn't have all the details that I wanted. I had enough to make a decent story, like I did, like a blog, but not put it in the full book. But it's on my blog, CodyPerron.com/blog. Anyway, appreciate your time, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, y'all. Out.